The purpose of the Mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There's no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen. Oh, where'd it go?
Did that go back? My bad. Sorry.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
Oh, that's me, isn't it?
Are you open? Are you listening?
Number 9.
I switched off. Are we on number 9?
Yeah.
We're open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
Oh, you're such a liar, Tony. You're not listening.
I just couldn't see what I'd just heard.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned. Oh, was that me?
And
We are just aligned at the moment.
We are. We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Is that answer?
Okay, now I'm going to.
Yeah.
Noble.
Okay, I'm going to go. Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Ali.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
Now I know you're all happy that I got to read this one. The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time. Fantastic.
We're millionaires, but we can't get 16 sentences out in the right order.
I want to know what else you were doing, because you were definitely trying to multitask there, Mr. Inman.
I was just adjusting my notebook and everything, and I looked away from the screen a moment, and then what I just heard wasn't there anymore, and I was like, where am I?
So, the law of compensation. You can kick us off, Tony, if you may, or if you will, rather.
Oh, what, do you want me to give you a summary of the good bits, the juicy bits?
A summary basically of what you received from it in regards to if it was like one area that really stood out for you and that you can reflect on in your life, and certainly how you can look at implementing it moving forward.
Okay, well, I did what you suggested. I listened to the what's his name, Bob Proctor video first. So you said your compensation would be based on the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you, which was a bit controversial when we had the call yesterday, with people understanding that part of it. The other bits, I'll just pick out the ones that I highlighted in gold, because there's so many people on the call, I'm sure they'll all want to cover different bits. But he said, if you're not, actually, sorry, this was Hollywell then. I went on to the Hollywell study, which I thought was a lot better. And obviously Bob Proctor's summarizing, but he's summarizing what he got out of it, and I got different things out of it. If you're not where you want to be, it's up to you to apply the laws better. Turn the energy of your mind, your ideas of plenty, love, happiness, joy, health, and they in turn will appear. And the better your service, the greater the reward and the more business you will attract, which is really what he was saying. I think not literally the ability, the difficulty that there is in replacing you. I think it was because somebody, I think Melanie said, oh, look, everyone's replaceable, especially in corporate, and that's the whole goal of succession planning. But it was to make yourself, yeah, we're all replaceable, but that it would be hard to replace you because you go above and beyond and you deliver more than you say you're going to, and you do the best job that you can. That was my take on that. So it's not literal, it's metaphorical. Is that enough?
If you're happy with that, mate, that's enough, yeah.
I could carry on for hours, but you know.
Well, that's enough then. Tina.
Yeah, well, I also read the what Lisa shared, the Raymond Halliwell script, and then I watched part of the Bob Proctor bit. I've seen it before, but I watched it again, and I don't know. I just I get simple things out of it, like I think the proverb, you reap what you sow, is very good. We have lots of different proverbs in Finland concerning that. One is something like you lay as you make your bed. So so what I get out of it is that I have to give what I want to receive, and or what I'm wanting to receive, and it's kind of it's kind of the same that there was my yesterday's intake when I was listening the tapes was something like, we become what we think most of the time that we are awake. So just the thoughts and the beauty or the ugliness that we have inside, it just comes around again, and we have to just appreciate what's coming and just concentrate on, we do like the daily decisions about how we behave today and how we act today, and whether we are doing good things and serving others or doing something opposite. I'm not going to go any further with this.
Awesome. Thanks for the share there, Tina. Great.
Cool.
Lisa.
Thank you. Yeah, Tina. Sorry, Martin. Yeah, I think the English equivalent to that proverb you were saying is, you've made your bed, so lie in it. So it's like, this is what you've created, this is what you get. So yeah, I totally get that. I haven't watched the recording of the last call yet, and it's interesting what Tony said about, you know, being irreplaceable, and this is something we teach in Bob's program, Thinking into Results, and it's more about being the best version you can be and putting everything into being this. Because I often say to my clients say, yeah, but if I do more at work, I get given more to do. And I say, it's not about doing more, it's about doing what you already do better. And I wanted to read something from the Working with the Law, which really sums this up. When you perform your tasks to the very best of your ability, or when you are thorough in your work and do it well, you infallibly bring out the best there is in you. And I think this is important, because what that means is it's shifting our vibration. So not only do we grow more capable and efficient, we become better, and thereby showing your growing superiority. Don't like that word, but this is, you know, it's an old book. Okay, and the law is that he who becomes better will attract the better and be given the greater things to do. So when it talks about being irreplaceable, it's not about that you can't replace somebody to do your job. It's that nobody will do your job as well as you do. And when you do it, when you come from that perspective, you're automatically raising your energy, because we feel good. When we've done a really good job, we feel good about ourselves, which is raising the vibration and saying to the universe, okay, I'm ready to receive the next level up. So that's how I perceive that. And it says here, the principle involved is that when you become too large for your present place, you will begin to draw to yourself something larger. You cannot attract the better until you first become the larger. You must earn what you receive, or you cannot keep it. And we talk about this as, you know, doing more than you're paid for, so that later on you get paid for more than you do. And this is, you know, as we go further up the chain in corporate or whatever, the more we do, the more we get paid, we go to the next level. But there comes a point where you do less of the work and more of the management. Yeah, so that's my perception of what Tony was saying, but it's something that we talk about a lot. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what you do better. And then that's saying to the universe, hey, all right, we're ready for the next level. Bring it up. Thank you.
Who was number 4? Veronica?
Me. Yeah, watching the Bob Proctor thing, it was like, it didn't really hit home very much, but definitely reading the book was there was a lot more content in there, and a lot more like slaps in the faces too, quite frankly. Like the, just what you were saying, Lisa, you must earn what you receive or you cannot keep it. Yeah, hence the ups and downs of my money situations over my life, and I'm sure other people will see that too. So that's really interesting. I kind of, there's so much to say about it, but some of it's a bit fluffy and not really relevant, so I won't say that one. I kind of, well, reading about one bit, the key to every man is his thought. And then it says, why do prisoners strive to get the warden's keys, that they may gain their freedom in the outer world, because there is no other way out. Neither can you be free of your bonds except through the key, through the right use of your thought. And it kind of made me think of the Nelson Mandela quote about how he said when he was leaving prison that if he didn't forgive and the people, if he didn't forgive what had happened, then he was still going to be in prison, even though he wasn't in jail anymore. And also Viktor Frankl came to mind as well. Yeah, having been in concentration camps for so many years and being one of the few survivors, because it was all about his mental state and having a purpose to continue moving on, even though so many people dying around him. Yeah, that's probably deep enough.
Okay, my fifth sense of wisdom, I am grossly undercompensated for the brilliance that I do. So this is the law which I think gives me the biggest challenge, because I actually don't even know why, you know, and this is where Lisa is going to come in with our reading exercises every day. So we might actually spend 2 weeks on this one by the time we get there. We'll see. But this is what gives me the biggest work actually, and I'm not quite sure where the hiccup is. Is it an attachment? Is it an expectation where the compensation and in what form the compensation must come from? Or is it that I'm just not seeing the blessings that I have, which I'm very aware of it, but I find this particular one, whether I listen to it or read about it, particularly challenging. And I'm looking forward to actually put this into practice, because from principle, of course, I understand it. And the phrasing that Tina says with a bed, you know, I know that from the German language is pretty much the same. And there's so much, and you get what there's so much, and I understand that the whole concept of that you reap as you sow and things like that. But when it comes to the compensation, when it comes to the material or the tangible compensation, I feel there's a glitch. And I don't even want to say lack, because I pretty much have very much everything I need. Of course, you desire more, and there's always bigger and better and those kind of things. And there's always room for improvement. But for me, this is the biggest glitch, okay, in my mind. I think mostly in my mind. So I'm looking forward to listen to, how many are we? Lots of wisdom here. And I'm really looking forward to crack that code. I think this is for me mostly challenging, because I keep saying for a long time now, I said, I now allow my brilliance to show up, to be reflected in my bank account. And for me, the issue is in my bank account. It needs to, for a certain reason, not for ego reason, yeah, only in my mind. Of course it's in my mind. Everything is in my mind. I'm a legend in my own mind. I'm the best in my own mind. But this is where the glitch comes, that I require now, I need to show it, I mean, my bank account, not from an ego reason, from what's a bank account, of course, Tony. We'll work on that one when we work on your project. Not for ego reasons, but for just practical reasons. So I'm really looking forward to crack the code, and I shall keep you updated when I've managed. So, that's it.
Sorry, I couldn't get the mute button to unmute. Okay, so this one was really challenging for me. And it was, I have mentioned it on the last call, and I know Martin has brought it up before in his call yesterday. For me, I had started to listen to Bob Proctor's one actually at work while I was working. And I got to the questions, those 3 questions, or the need for what you do, and your ability, and then being replaceable. And with me going through trying to transition from being in full-time work since I was 16, so 30 odd years, or more than that now, years ago, and now wanting to explore something different, to be able to give back to people from all the lessons that I've learned in life. I felt like I had nothing to offer, because I felt like, well, where do I start? Do I need to go and become a coach, go and learn that? Do I need to, but which path do I really want to go down? And it really put me in a head spin, I suppose, of feeling inadequate, and yeah, I come on these calls, and I know most of you have all got something, and that made me feel the lack. And and I did want to just walk away and go, oh, what's the point? I'm kidding myself in this side of it. And I for 2 hours, I kept mulling over it. My head kept telling me to reach out to Martin, and I just I didn't for a while, and then all of a sudden at the end of my day I did. And Martin and I did get on a call, which was going to be 5 minutes, that turned into an hour. But I got a huge value out of that, because the first question Martin asked me is, why did you follow me? What brought you to me? And it certainly wasn't because of any certificates that he had. It was watching his growth, and his energy and his passion for what he does is what drew me to want to be part of what Martin's a part of. And that first mastermind that I was on just really empowered me. I felt really great from it. So from that, I hadn't actually read the book part of it, obviously, at that point. So I have come away and done some of that work. A couple of things have come up, and I shared on the last one is, like for me, the hardest part for me to grow is that no one else around me needs me to grow. My family don't need me to grow. They don't want me to grow. They're happy for me to do whatever I want, but they also don't need me to be anything more than I am to them now. So it's an easy cop out to go, oh, well, I don't have to do this, because when things get tough, it's easy to go, do I really want to explore myself when my family have their image of me, and that's enough for them. So, you know, I've had to really think about that, you know, and for me, I do want to grow, and I do want to be a better version. I want to see who I can become. I've helped so many people in changing who they are. And I've grown in that, but I know that there's so much more to me and for me to grow. So I think what I've got out of this is, if I take the business side of things away from it, to be of value to people, you know, I want to be the best version of me all the time. I want to keep growing me. So if I ask myself those questions, I'm asking them to myself, you know, what do I need for me to be able to be, you know, to do the best of my ability to make myself indispensable to myself. So, you know, that was a pretty big heart that came from it. The other thing that resonated really with me was, you know, talking about turn the energy of your mind upon ideas of plenty, love, happiness, joy, health, and they in turn will appear. That's been a huge part of my life, is that, you know, I've had a lot of trauma and tragedy that's happened throughout my life with family members, and the only way we've survived any of it is by bringing the laughter, the joy, looking at the beautiful moments in life. You know, with my brother coming out of a coma, was supposed to be a vegetable for you know, for the rest of his life. They gave him a 5% chance of coming out of his coma and a 0 chance of not being a vegetable. And, you know, it's been over 30 odd years and he lives on his own. He's not a vegetable. He functions in life, but that's because of the work that we put in to him, you know, not just the rehab, believing in him and you know, creating that safe, you know, the safe space for him to lose it and carry on, but no, you're going to keep moving and you keep going on. But we had lots of laughter. I mean, we were the only ones in ICU with a person in a coma that had a whole family outside laughing, and you know, people looking at us going, what are you doing? And it's like, well, you know, we're making the best of a really horrible situation, and we don't know what the outcome is, but we're not going to sit here and wallow in self-pity. We're going to keep putting that energy out there of love. So so those parts in there where I see, you know, it's easy to step up, or it's easy for me to step up when life's a crisis. You know, I took over my dad's health. He didn't want an oncologist with his brain tumor. He didn't go down any of the traditional, but he didn't want to die. So I became a researcher. The amount of knowledge that I walked away with, which in my mind is only surface knowledge, because I was scrambling to get information as quickly as I could to try and keep him alive, which we did for 33 months compared to the doctors gave him 6 months. You know, I can work really, really well under those tough conditions, but then take me away from those and I become... I lose my confidence again. So, you know, I feel like the only way I function is with a crisis. So my challenge with this is I'm the crisis. I'm the one that's got to keep working on me to you know, and find that love and joy and keep pushing through. I know it's probably a little bit off topic, but that's the power that came out of what I got today over the last few days.
Beautiful share. Thank you, Diane. That was awesome. Carly? Yeah.
I did listen to it. No, I can't even remember what I heard. So maybe I need lots of compensation. No, I got that action and expansion. It's all about expanding and action, or either way. So like Lisa was saying before, where we've got to be, we're vibrationally changing and we're clearing a lot of our old energy. And when we do that, when we clear out an emotion, when we clear out a thought, when we clear out even with a relationship with self, and we go within and just clear a bit of debris. That allows expansion, that then brings in our desire, if I want to go there, and then that brings in that action step so that we keep going. So we're always in flow, and then compensation meets that.
Beautiful, Carly. Thank you. Do you want to go next? No, it's me then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, there's so much. I've been telling you all that I've thoroughly getting so much value. But one of the things around the compensation that I'll touch on there was from Raymond Hollywell, where he said, no matter what your problem is, the law can work it out, but you must adjust your thinking to work with the law. You must realize that by working and proving the law, you do so step by step, with each step bringing you closer to your goal. And at the event that we were at, I actually brought that up around the universal laws, because that's one of the key areas where they teach. And I said, so am I right then in thinking that now that I'm learning more about them and getting a level of intellectual understanding to start implementing, then I'm going to create the spiritual connection to it? But am I to look at every single, Corey shaking his head, am I to look at every single area of my life and then go, how am I implementing the laws? And that's where it was then like the logical side of it going, because when I reflect back, there's many times where I've unconsciously been activating the laws. So how much would my life evolve if I was consciously then acting the laws? So that was really where I got so much from an angle, even with this call right now. You know, I look at that we're here together because I decided to make a decision that I was going to create this space, and I was going to put the effort and the time and the work into it. And you all chose to show up and be on it. So I'm being compensated by you all being here based on the vision and the creation that I chose to put into action. Now, I haven't been necessarily financially compensated, especially when we look at an employee mindset of what I should have been financially compensated for. But the value that I receive from this is far greater than what money can actually pay me for, which is helping me continually evolve and provide more value. And even when we go back to when Diane said about the call, you know, that is me being compensated because Diane is seeing the person that I am. I'm showing up, I'm actually growing, and she was inspired by that growth and chose to follow me. And I'm being compensated from Diane coming then and asking me a question or sharing where she's at, and me being able to provide value to her to help her remain here so we didn't have a space in this group tonight. Right? So I got so much from the law of compensation based on, don't worry about what the results are going to be. Follow your heart, follow what feels right, and just keep going forward. And it will all come in abundance, whatever is supposed to come. Lisa.
Sorry, Beth, I don't want to take up your chance, but I just want to bring this up, Martin. That was something that when you talked about, well, if I've done all this unconsciously, what will happen when I do it consciously? Shall I tell you? It'll go downhill because we're working from our heads. I did exactly the same when I trained with Bob Proctor. I became a consultant for him, and I thought, wow, if I've achieved all this without even really consciously doing it, what can I achieve when I know what I'm doing? And everything went down. My finances went down. Everything, my whole life just went down pretty rapidly because I was working in my head and not coming from my heart. You have to work with the laws from the heart. Yes, you have to have an understanding of them in your head, but you have to work with them from your heart. And I wasn't. There's a Corey laughing, but that's what happens. So when we get conscious automatically puts us into our heads. So just a word of caution there, that sometimes we're better off to be aware, but work with the subconscious. The only time we need to be conscious is when the subconscious is not in alignment with the laws. Yeah, then we may need to do a bit of conscious work around that. But when we work from the conscious, we're working with the laws, you're not going to be successful. Personal experience. Of course, Corey might be able to dispute that.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. That was amazing. Come on, Big Peach, make your entrance.
Big Peach. I'm going to keep running with Hulk memes on your any comment you put about Big Bird, bro. So much. I have so much to say about so much that's been said. It's funny, Diane, when you were speaking, actually, I think it was, actually might have been Veronica, you were speaking, I wrote Holocaust, and you literally said Viktor Frankl 2 seconds after I wrote that down. Yeah, Diane, you have so much to give to the world just from your experience in life. Like, I come from a space where I used to chase, I'm like, I wanted the piece of paper, I can't be a coach unless I have a university degree. I'm getting paid more than most psychologists right now, coaching. And my avatar is literally who I was 5 years ago. That's who I help. So I help men get consciousness around their lives, basically. And I get compensated for it. So anyway, I just wanted to plant that seed that potentially your avatar is who you were 5 years ago. And I was at a 9-year-old's funeral, well, after the funeral, and the funeral got delayed because he passed away and they had to do a bunch of autopsy stuff. So it was like 12 days before the funeral. So we'd been grieving for a long period of time before the funeral. And then afterwards, I spoke at his funeral and I shared a bunch of stories, but I had to cut it down because I had like 20 minutes of stories. So I had to cut it down to just share what I could share. And then everyone at the wake are like, oh, go get your stories, man. So I didn't even have to get the book. I just started sharing stories, and there was maybe 15, 20 of us, and we were all laughing. And there was people that, because it was a 9-year-old, he died publicly, it was on TV. So people rocked up dressed in black and they're crying and weeping, and I'm laughing, and I've got a big set of lungs on me. So I'm laughing and being jovial and just lifting the energy of everyone in the space. And the grandmother come out and said, you have to stop laughing. And I said, no. You need to tell those people they have to go. Like, we've done our grieving, and this is how I'm grieving now. I'm celebrating Ty's life. So I just wanted to honor that. Actually, it was beautiful. I'm not even on the topic of, and a really powerful book to read, Diane, is Dying Wise. I'll put a thing up in the comment. It's like 20 odd hours of audio book, but it's super, super powerful around how to live our lives in a more meaningful way. It's really changed. I've been doing that in conjunction with doing this, but it's made a massive change in how I view death and how I view life. Yeah, Martin, it's not in the head, bro. It's all in the heart. The head's where we get lost, man. Compensation comes from so many spaces. And I think when we have an expectation of like immediate return on reward on investment for investment, right? So for me, my immediate reward is I feel $1 million after these calls. So like I'm fully compensated for my time, for my energy I give and I receive in massive layers of abundance. And I've just seen that opportunities are coming up. I got presented an opportunity to go work at Rio Tinto yesterday as a consultant around anxiety for their younger cohort. Someone today rang me up and said, hey, can you run a rites of passage for our school? Like, people are just starting to refer me to do these things. So that's where the abundance is coming in, right? So further on in that video, Bob Proctor's, it's probably not even about the conversation, but when you guys were talking tonight, this is what came up for me. When we do good, we don't see an immediate reward. But when we do bad, there's almost an instantaneous response. So a good example of that is around money. I had this guy's like, I'll pay you cash for this thing in my business. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do cash and I'll pull it out and I won't declare the tax, et cetera, et cetera. And I got the cash and then I drove out of my factory up a side street. So 3 minutes later, I got a $400 speeding fine and I got $400 cash from that guy. Like, it was instantaneous. I was out of alignment with my values, my integrity, my honesty, money. I'll pocket that. And instantaneously, the universe said, you're out of alignment. So I guess seeking compensation, it can just unravel us. Like when we start going down that, when I go down that path of, I'm not earning money, why should I do this? I was very much in that state around this, you know, like, why should I chase? I'm going to spend an hour a day trying to get people on that I don't know into my mastermind, and that still doesn't align with me. And the more I sit with what aligns with me in Noble Goldman, potentially it's just this and nothing else. And that might be all it is forever. But right now, that is actually, when I sat down and really thought about it, I'd be happy to pay $1,000 US a year to do this, to be honest, but it's $200 US. So, but I'm happy to facilitate and put in, and there's yin and yang of giving and receiving. You know, it's not all about when you guys are on the road. Like, I know that I will step into a role when you're not available to do that. So there'll be a giving and receiving from that aspect. Yeah, and we get so caught up in our bank accounts. There's a guy called Mr. Money Mustache. It's a stupid name, but he's got a blog, and he basically retired on $750,000 US. And he started writing about it. Now he's got a blog, and ironically, he makes a bunch of money talking about not making money. But he lives on about $25,000 a year, and he travels to Airbnbs and does all this stuff. So we kind of get caught up in needing more and more and more and more and more when, I don't know, do we? You know, I guess that's the question I want to pose. What else have I written here? That's it. I'm done.
As always, tremendous shares, Corey, mate. Thank you. Beth, over to you.
Okay, I have been doing the other laws that you guys have been doing. I just haven't been on the calls.
I'm not allowed it to come in.
And for me, it's been an interesting sort of experience in that Bob Proctor is definitely not someone that I would choose to listen to ordinarily. And talking about things like structured universal laws is not normally the kind of PD or spiritual development or whatever you want to call it that I would listen to. So going through them in a sort of structured way, and I guess part of the reason I did it was Mark was like, I want to study these so I can implement them in every day. And I was like, when I met you, you're listening to Wayne Dyer, and he talks about the universal laws. He just doesn't label them the universal laws and doesn't put them in a really structured way. So I think you'll find lots of what we do and what you talk about is already the universal laws. It's just not labeled that way. So as we've been going through them, it's been amazing how much in my logical brain I've been able to link, oh yeah, well, this person puts it this way, and it's all sort of just like click, 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 if that makes sense. So that's really what I've taken out of doing these laws, I guess, so much. And even now, I listen to Bob Proctor, but I'm getting a lot more from the book that we've got. And I highlighted a lot this week. But one of the things that stuck out to me was each experience through which we pass operates ultimately for our good. And I don't know whether it was just the mindset that I was in this week. Towards the end of last week, I hit a massive low and worked my way sort of through that. But that bit in the Raymond Hollywell book really sort of hit me in that even the law of compensation is working there, in that I'm still getting something from that, even though it felt crap and it was hard and it hurt. It was still giving me a whole lot. I just had to look for and recognize And then again, I was listening to Preston Smiles today, who is more along the kind of lines that I would normally listen to. And he was saying everyone has to ABC, and it was about always be celebrating. So it was about, even though I had that low and that crappy time, I still got a whole heap from going through that. So yeah, I guess celebrating the lows as well, for what I got out of it, which was another thing that came up. And Diane, I just wanted to mention, I feel that all the time. So I'm surrounded by him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
She's a lucky girl.
And ever since I've met Marc, he's always been, this is what I want to do. Like, it's slightly altered a little bit along the journey, but he's always been so clear on it. And for a long time, I struggled with that. I didn't have something that I was super clear on. I really want to do this. And I spent a lot of energy worrying about the fact I didn't have something I was super clear on. And now that I've let that go, I have so much more energy and feel more aligned with what I do choose to go with. I think I was holding on to the fact that I needed to have something. And it wasn't until I let go of that things started to sort of fall into place. So I feel ya on that one.
Yeah, fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your tremendous shares. Go on, Veronica.
I forgot the most important part of the book that I should have shared. or the section, the law, is that I've been saying for ages that your business can only grow as much as you grow. That really just sums it up, and that's pretty much what this is about. So if you don't, if you're just comfortable, then it's not your place. You have to keep finding out what's going on, and it's very easy to be comfortable. And I've gone through stages where I think, no, I'm all sorted. I know what I'm doing now. And then, this week I got slapped in the face again. So.
That's where you have to be careful of the law of atrophy, because when you sit on your laurels, you don't just stay where you are, you slip backwards. And in business, your competition takes over.
So I haven't really spoken about what was going on with me with everyone here, really. So what Beth was talking about is I had kind of 10 days of that. I was held beautifully by some of the women here, Ancha, Lisa, Callie. I spent time with all of them over the week, and it was interesting because it was a mother wound that I was healing. So I really just, and it was funny. I asked a mate to tell me what he loved about me and 3 things that I could improve. And one of the things he said I could improve was showing up for women. And I thought it was super interesting. And that was right at the back end of the healing that I was doing. And the interesting thing was that I showed that to my wife after I'd kind of gone through this whole, because we were really separated throughout the period. I was the lowest I'd been in a long time, like probably 4 or 5 years. So I really feel you, Beth. Like, that post really helped me a lot. Just really received enormous value from that. But we need to let go, right, to create space for stuff to come in. So I was carrying all this shame, and it was like at the core of my body. And when I let that go, when I was able to let that go, it's shifted my relationship with my wife. It's opened up opportunities for work and employment, and for my program. It's just dropped in. So all this stuff, like I'm working with Manny Bruce on the Just Leap. I'm in his men's work collective program, and I'm building out, stuff for legacy for mums that have lost their husbands, for mums to reconnect with their kids, and just all this beautiful stuff's dropping in. But if I didn't heal that wound and take the space, then none of that can happen, right? So we have to let go. We have to let go of whatever's stuck, our blocks, or we'll never ever receive anything. You know, we won't have the opportunity to take on and be more and more and more. It's not about getting more, actually. It's about being more. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but I don't even know. I was going to talk about something else that Beth brought up. So, yeah, it's just about having that faith, right? That everything we're going through. So not all growth. Like, I had massive growth last week in healing and letting go and releasing. Like, even when I spoke about money with Antra on Wednesday, and I spoke about this on the Wednesday morning call, actually, like, I had this thing like, money, I don't care about money. Like, it's not important to me. And it was all to do with my ego and the fact that I used money to fulfill a hole that I didn't have love in my life. So money was, I did two things to fill that void. I got big so people couldn't hurt me. And I generated a lot of money so I could buy people things or buy fast cars, be seen to be cool, ego. But that's what I needed at the time, right? And then my attachment to money was essentially the same thing. Now I'm just like, well, I feel whole, so I don't need money. But it doesn't necessarily come to us in money either. You know, like, I want a block of land to do rites of passage. And I followed up with a guy today, and I've got like 3,000 square meters in Lansing. The guy's going to let me, he'll charge me for the land, but I'm charging for my program. So that's a reciprocal response. But essentially, we've got a fixed agreement on what it's going to cost. And he's going to let me set up a bunch of stuff, and he can come up with ideas that I wouldn't have even thought of to integrate into that today, right? So that's like, you know, like, we're going to build a program for athletes. He wants to work with surfers, and he wants me to implement all my emotional, mental health stuff with him, with professional surfers. Like, that wasn't even in my radar. So, yeah, compensation is not all about dollars and cents. I know we get stuck in that a lot of the time. I know some of you guys are really stuck in the dollars and cents of it all, but it's just, money's, since I've let go of this, the amount of money that's come in the past like 3 days has been ridiculous. The opportunities for money that's come in have been ridiculous. And whether I take them all or not, or whether I utilize that money for something else is whatever it is. But it's all about creating space in our heart and getting out of here. That creates the opportunity to really grow. So for Diane, like, what do you need to let go of to show up for all those people that need you? Like, the world needs us as open-hearted warriors, all of us, to let go and show up. It's just screaming for it. I'm out.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome, Corey. So, who here is booking a call in with Antia, Lisa, and Carly? Yeah, that was amazing. And it just goes to show, you know, what was going back to as well, what Diane chose to do, having enough love for self to reach out, even at that lowest point where Corey was, and the people in the community being there to hold that space and support each other. And on the outside, we don't even see any of that. On the outside of NG, you don't see any of that. The only time when you actually start to appreciate it is when you get on these calls and you start to build these relationships. And there's many people who are in Noble Goldman that aren't even showing up, and they're missing out on all this value. And that's fine, because that's where they're at. That's fine. But just imagine if everybody that was coming in was able to connect and be a part of this, and just the impact that we can all make together, and helping each other step up and share our value, our wisdom, our knowledge. Because what's just been shared there in particular from Corey was just incredible. And from my side, thank you, Antia, Carly, and Lisa for helping in there. But I know that everybody in the Gold Star group was sending their love. to Corey as well. So that's what it's about. That's what it's about. So is there anything on a either a different note or down the same lines that anybody wants to bring up that they want to mastermind around, share, get clarity on? Everybody's happy. That's a good place to be. So I want to also say thank you to Veronica, because Veronica actually connected me with one of her mentors, and him and I had a really good conversation on Saturday morning. He's over in America, I think. Yep, over in America, and
he's in Dallas.
In Dallas, yeah. And there was no doubt about it. We already knew each other from previous life, and I came off that call, and I just burst into tears. Like I had so much gratitude to have been connected with such an incredible human being, and I was bursting for a wee. And whilst I was having a wee, I was crying. That was the emotion. I was crying, so it was coming out of everywhere. And it was just such an incredible experience. And Beth was like, "Well, what's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow." Words just couldn't justify it. So it just goes to show that we're constantly being connected with the people that we need to be connected with. And it was just, yeah. So thank you, Veronica, for choosing to step up yourself and reach out to him, because I know that was a big step for you as well, to do so.
It's funny that there's things in my life where I do hesitate, but that was like straight away. And as soon as Tony introduced me to this platform, it's like, this is where Gary needs to be. So there was no hesitation there. And I'm just so glad that you took the time to have a chat with him. And I can't wait to see him on, to see him change so many people's lives here. It's going to be awesome.
I just remember wanting to say to Beth, not particularly Beth, just to everyone. So I was on with Matty B just now, and what he said was, we don't get the whole picture. We don't get to see the whole lake, right? We just get to see, like, the universe just gives us enough to take the next step. And if we just focus on that next step rather than where we need to be, then we get to where we need to be very quickly. I've found that's what's happening with me. But he also said, like, for me, I get stuck in procrastination. Like, I'm a projector. Like, I've done my human design with Matt. That's his jam. And when I've deleted out all the things that don't serve me or I haven't been invited into, then my life started to flow better. But he also, like, I need 100 steps. Like, I literally need to break down my program into 100 steps. And I feel like just that, and that's why, I guess that's why NG is kind of, this is going to become NG for me for at least the next 6 months until I develop and roll that program out, because there's too much noise. Like the NG, there's just too much in NG. Like, it took Russ, 3 months to wrap his head around it. And at the moment I'm distracted because I'm distracted between NG and my own side by side and building that. So I need to like go, okay, where am I? Where's my energy? And my energy's in side by side and masterminds, and that will give me space to be able to then build an amazing business. And then if NG becomes a part of that, then that becomes a part of it at some point. But right now that's what I'm looking at my next steps. So I just wanted to share that, I guess. So to just what's the next step rather than I need to have a big vision, Martin's his big vision. I guarantee you're probably a projector that needs to be invited into stuff.
Yep. I've been in NG for, when did you give me an account?
I don't know.
When he first started doing videos and needed a free member account to show people what they got when they were a free member. Just to interrupt there, just to wedge myself in, I knew she'd be incredible value for Noble Goldman. But it probably took me at least 2 or 3 months to even ask him what my password was to my NG account. When you were ready. That's it. So
and then just upgraded to Gold Star recently to do the 90-day success challenge with us.
Because I couldn't get any of the bottom half with the numbers, with connecting with people in the groups and stuff, because I wasn't Gold Star. So
so she's probably the longest person it's taken me to get to Gold Star. I'm only joking. So yeah, and there's just so much. There's so many golden nuggets. Funnily enough, Tina, golden nuggets we're talking about. There's so much gold that's shared on these calls, and I think what's really empowering is that, like you said there, Corey, just taking each step as it comes, and that is what's the next step, and eventually you're there. So, and even when we look at NG as a whole, you know, when we're on the call today, and I know that a few of you have been on the other Gold Star calls, it was all around, this is what's coming, this is the next step, this is the next step. And we were literally, I don't know, I know Veronica, you were on as well. We were literally throwing stuff at Mark, and he was writing, I don't know how he remembers half of it, but he was writing down stuff, and he's like, wow, I've got some list now. And there's so much more that I've got to give him, because I'm going deeper and deeper into the site and finding certain things that need improving all the time.
He's not going to let us on at the same time ever again.
But that's what's so great, because it's the next step. What's the next step? What's the next step? And the great thing as well is that we're all bringing something of value in. And whilst Corey's out there creating more of his thing in particular, as well as all of us, but with what Corey's been sharing, Noble Goldman, when it's ready, will be ready for Corey's thing when it's ready as well, and it will come together. Because I know more people need what Corey's creating. I know what more people need, what each of us are creating. And we don't need a certificate to say, you know, I'm this super duper person and we've got to look at my certificate. Because there's many people out there that have got certificates that aren't doing anything. So you look and go, well, why should somebody else miss out on my value because I don't have a certificate? Why? Go for it, Veronica.
Comparison is, there's a saying, but I can't remember what it is, but it's about comparison, and it is the death of any kind of growth, because as soon as you start comparing what you have with what someone else has, you're stuck. And that really hit me today as well, because I was thinking, well, instead of reading other people's stuff and looking what they're doing, I need to action all the things that are in my head. And in my mind maps, they've actually got to get out there. So, and not looking at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I've got my own stuff to contribute, and we all do.
Absolutely, Veronica. And I think we forget about, like, my clients used to say to me, why don't you write a book about this stuff? And I said, there's so many books out there. We don't need another self-help book. And then all of a sudden I read one. It was like, well, I can do this. So yes, there is now another self-help book out there, but it gives a different perspective. It gives my perspective. And we mentioned earlier on that, you know, we hear things differently. Beth, you were talking about, you know, we've got Wayne Dyer talks about, they're all talking about the same stuff. I don't care who you listen to, who you read, they are all talking the same stuff. I don't care what religion you're in. It all comes down to the laws of the universe. It all comes down to the same stuff. But we don't hear it. This is why there are different religions, because some people will hear it through Christianity, some will hear it through Buddhism, some will hear it through Muslim. It doesn't matter. It's all the same stuff, but people need to hear it differently. And how often have we done this? You know, somebody's told us, or how often have you been on the receiving side of this? You've told somebody over and over and over and over again, and they don't get it. And then all of a sudden they come back and say, oh my God, somebody told me this. And they've got it. Exactly what you've been telling them for the last 20 years. Yeah, but they didn't hear it the way you were presenting it. So it takes other people. And anybody who's got kids knows that if you're a really smart parent and you want your kids to do something, you work with their parents, their friends' parents, and you team up there. So one parent will tell the kids this and the other parent will tell the kids this, because the kids will always listen to somebody else's parents. They won't listen to their own. So it's all about noticing that we all have some value to give. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have value to give. Every single one of us has something worth giving. And even if we only help one person, doesn't that make our life worth it?
Yeah.
If we just change the life of one person, we've made it. And I know I've changed lots of lives, sometimes without even knowing it. So I have value. That's why there's another book. out there. But we've got to recognize that we all have value and stop comparing, because I did that, exactly that, Veronica. Well, I can't write a self-help book. This all these people with degrees and all this kind of stuff. What do I know? And yet my book is valuable. It's changed lives. So how selfish of me to not want to put it out there to help those people that have helped. It might not be thousands of people, but it's changed lives. So we're pretty selfish if we don't share that.
And the scale is, if you help one and they then help 10 people, and then those 10 people help 10 people, that's 1,000. And then if it went 4 generations, it's 10,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
One impact.
And we don't even know sometimes how we've impacted people.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't get to hear about it. But I know Tony and I were having a conversation the other day that somebody, I was on a workshop, and it was a Brian Tracy workshop. And we had to start off with, who has made the biggest impact on you? And this girl named me. Something I had said to her, I couldn't even remember the conversation, let alone what it was about. But I'd said something to her that had changed her life. So we're doing this all the time. Who are we not to share that wisdom? Yeah, as you said, Veronica, who are you not to share your life? We've all got something of value. And it might not be valuable to everybody, but it will be valuable to somebody. So get out there and share it. Start writing books, people.
Yeah,
We could do a collab. We could do a collaborative author. But I've actually written 2 books. I've been a collaborative author in another book. I can't even remember the title of that. But we could create an NG book. Yay! The book of NG. Everybody writes 1 chapter. Let's go.
Even when I reflect back on, I was introduced to personal development back in 2013 when I stepped into network marketing, and I was learning from Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. I mean, Jim Rohn in particular wasn't even alive. That's you look, and Wayne Dyer. When I got introduced to Wayne Dyer, wasn't even alive, but they've all had significant impact on my life. The messages, but then also the choice to action those messages, what I'm hearing.
And I think a lot of it comes down to the situation or the environment as well, because you can hear the same thing over and over again, but it may just be that day, everything else around you means that you hear that message slightly differently, or it actually lands that day. Even if you listen to the same audio every day, you'll pick up something different. So there's so many different factors, but it's all valuable at some point to someone in some way.
Yeah, and especially through the laws. And this is, I was saying this to Beth, I was listening to a Wayne Dyer talk, and hearing it now after listening to the laws to this point, I'm receiving so much more. And that's why I say what I say around understanding them. Because now I'm hearing far more of the messages and actually understanding them rather than going in and going out and going, oh, that was nice. It's kind of like this, ooh, that's nice. But now it's like being taken forward. So it's amazing what I've received from working through these. So it's right time for me, that's all. Cool. Well, as there's nothing else, Corey, are you going, or you staying? Oh, you're going. Okay. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up anyway, brother. Great having you on with us as always. Just as a reminder, for those of us that are all on the 90-day, I think everybody's on the 90-day program at the moment, but there's been talk around the 30-day program. It's not that we're quitting the 90-day. The 30-day is actually evolved, like basically taking it to the next level, but without having to do a lot more work. It's been completely restructured to help make it flow better. But then 30-day success challenge is also going to give far more value. Pardon? Journey. It's a 30-day journey, sorry. So that's actually live now. You can go and purchase that in the abundance section. It's actually been changed to called quests. So if you go to the abundance section down, it's called quests. And that is in pre-launch on the 1st of December. So that's kind of like the testing phase. We can all jump in it and we can go through it. And then it's officially launched on the 1st of January. So It's not that I'm quitting the 90-day, because there's no way at 91 days we've finished. That's where it really starts, because the habits should have been built by then. But I'm just shifting and taking it to myself. So if you want to carry on the 90 days, that's fine. But the 30 days is a better version of the 90 days, is basically what it is. So I'll be doing that. I know Beth is, but it's still going to be ticking the boxes and doing things. So anyway,
I'll second that.
Lisa.
I'll second that. There's huge value in this on so many different aspects. There's the value you'll get from doing the course or the quest, the journey yourself. There's also the value that you'll get if you bring other people in, and it's an awesome way for you to encourage your free members to become Gold Star members, so they can become part of receiving income from it. And it's not a huge amount of income, but it's just that starting to see what else is possible. It's also a huge opportunity for people who are just about ready to set up their own masterminds, because this 30-day challenge quest journey has weekly masterminds in it. It's all right, it might change again yet, Martin. Every time we go on a call, it changes to something different. But it gives everybody the chance to run their own, because everything you've got the mastermind outline, you've got everything you need with questions to ask and how to direct the conversation and everything. So if you're thinking about setting up your own masterminds, but it's a bit scary, this is an awesome way to do it. You don't have to do it. I'm running mine on Tuesdays. You're welcome to join mine. You're welcome to join anybody's generally, if they're happy to have other people on their challenge, their quest, their journey. But the opportunity for you to either bring some friends into NG, say, hey, look, I want to get this started. I need some people I feel comfortable with. Get them into NG, because obviously they've got to be a free member to be able to do it. Or take your team and do it with them. So it's a fantastic opportunity for you to grow. You don't have to, but if you're ready to grow either with your team or to bring people that you want to grow with into it. There is so much potential in this quest. It's phenomenal. Absolutely. Yeah, they don't have to be Gold Star members to be, but they do need to be a free member of NG. But what a perfect way to bring them into our community. And for those of you that have got teams, to up level to Gold Star. It's huge. It's so much more than just what you get from the information in the quest journey. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Lisa. So we can all leave now and go and get some tissues after seeing Tony's attire that he's got on, and go and dab those bleeding eyes, because it's painful. It's been horrible for me. The rest of you have really helped me get through this call. So, no, it's been a fantastic call as always. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your love, your patience, your respect for each of our shares. It's been awesome. Remember, share your 3 big takeaways in the community, and I look forward to touching base with you again very, very soon.
Just a very, very quick question that's totally not really just related to your comment there. The name cash flow is changing. Did he actually agree on a name? Because Antje and I primed him on the earlier call. he's got the same opinion of us as he's got of you and Beth. Like together, it's like we just kept hitting him with.
I think it's going to be Measure Chest based on Veronica's putting that forward as
cool.
well.
We had a huge debate. In fact, most of the call was around this whole thing. So that's what it looked like. But then somebody said, no, I don't like treasure chest, but they were an accountant, so they don't want fun. That's
that was so funny, because I said the cash flow has got such an accountant feel to it, and when I hung up and then she says, I am an accountant, and then
it doesn't appeal to me.
And when I ended the call, the voice said to me, I should have been politically correct. I should have put in the chat, no offense, accountants, and I didn't. I missed it. So
I said in the call afterwards, I am an accountant and I don't like you using the term cash flow. So
yeah.
Okay, well, she didn't
Perfect.
like the treasure chest, you know. So I just let it go, you know. I just let it go because Ricky sent me yesterday an awesome picture. I put it on Facebook today, you know. I said, I wonder what they're thinking about it. I wonder what they're thinking about me. Never a successful woman asked that question or something like that. So I let it go.
No successful woman ever. Yeah.
Exactly. So I let it go. I said, okay, some accountant in NG is not impressed with my comment. Let it go. Not my problem.
I'll tell you what it did spawn, though. It really opened up the whole thing. And Marc has talked about this before, you know, about a bit of Dungeons and Dragons type thing, but turning it into more of a game. And we had a big discussion around this on the early call about how we can link things in. So it is more of a game. So it is more fun. Then there was a discussion about, oh yeah, but what about entrepreneurs? And I didn't say it, but I wanted to say, well, who are the people we want in this community? We want people who are fun and lighthearted and stuff. And we can be just as successful. But like I say, it was a very heavy conversation, not heavy, but it was a very, well debated, so we dominated the conversation again for that call. We have a habit of doing that, but yeah, it looks like if there's enough support that we might be able to turn the whole thing. And we talked about, we play the game of life. So, you know, turning it into something a little bit more, how we have, you know, we have the treasure chest and we have that sort of, you know, long linking things into that. And I think that will be an absolute winner. I really do, because it's so different. I mean, NG is already different, but if we really want to break the mold, let's turn it into a game. You know, we've got the abundance game, we've got the game of life. We're halfway there. So yeah, I think it's exciting.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Thank you for all your input. And yeah, if you want to go and join that 30-day journey, you can do. It's live, and we'll all be starting on the 1st. So I'll look at how I'm going to facilitate a mastermind or plug in some.
Yeah, just a quick one, Mark. Martin, because it's launched on the 1st doesn't mean you have to start yours on the 1st.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. So if you're running your own, obviously if you're in with somebody else's, then you start on the day that they start. Mine's only starting on the 1st because that's the only time I've got in my diary to fit in a mastermind. Okay, but you can start your own whenever you like. And the idea is you run them on a monthly basis if you want to.
Yeah.
You do one 30-day one, then you do another 30-day one, then you do another 30. It's entirely up to you, but you run them when you want to. And something I spoke to Marc about last night, he often talks about the moon cycles and like this is a good time to start talking to people, or this is not such a good time to start talking to people. So I've thrown it out that we create a bit of a calendar that helps people know this is a good time to start the quest. This is a good time to start the 90-day challenge. This is a good time to really start talking to people. This is a good time to reflect and build on that. And she doesn't want to be part of it. She's projected out.
No, that one was about, okay, well, you suggested to create that calendar at the wrong time of the moon because I have project overload, but that eye rolling was about Tony's comment. What do we do in February? Only 28 days. Okay.
But the 28th is my birthday, so it's all good.
Really?
Also my 28th of Feb.
That's my
28th of Feb.
Yeah.
Woo!
Antia, so now you know it's not just Tony's choice of football team. He's also worthless from all these comments and that. We may as well just. I have a vote. Shall we remove him?
No.
Carly, you're tired. It's late where you are, so you're out of it. You've lost it. You're not with it.
Okay. But I'm going to love and leave you because I need to secure 2 more members, which I found this morning on my presentation that I did for something else. And they want to join the NG Mastermind because I packaged it really nicely. It was really nice. I put in the picture of a logo in terms of a healthy lifestyle because that was the presentation was mental well-being when moving into a new country. And from the hypnotherapy background, I explained what the mind does and how you can control your thoughts and things like that. And then I had pictures of a healthy diet, exercise, supplements when needed. In Sweden, you've got to go have vitamin D in winter. That's a given. Okay. And then I'll put the NG logo in. And I said, and you've probably never seen this. This is not a crown. This is actually this and this and this. So I got the emails afterwards. Send me an invitation. I want a link. So, yes, Tony, you can approach Trump and ask if he wants to be a gold star. He might actually just join. Okay, so you can do that. So I'm going to love and leave you and follow up on getting those people which I have a soul connection with, and I leave Tony to Trump. I think that will be a good one. Okay.
If you're going to Trump, Tony, make sure you're on mute. Right.
Well, Martin's got Beth. He's got all the Trump cards that he needs. Okay. And the gold stars.
Right. We're going.
Okay.
Go and enjoy your days,
Bye.
guys. Bye-bye.